Hello everyone. In today's video, I will be reading the second chapter of the Drunken Butler fanfiction that I've read chapter 1 of previously. Judging by the comments that you wonderful viewers left behind on part 1, it seems that a lot of you wanted me to continue reading the story, and that is what I'm here to do today. But I've decided that chapter 2 is as far as I will go. I will not be reading the entire story because I feel that is unfair to the author. Making a 15-part video series simply reading their work seems like cheating. So if you would like to read chapter 3 onwards, this is a completed story, then like in my previous video, I will leave the link to their story in the description. Please feel free to open it and read the rest of the story to your leisure. Please support the author. Without further ado, let's get into our final reading of Drunken Butler together. Ciel reached for the bell and rung it twice, his stomach grumbling, ready for his dinner. What the hell is taking him so long? He thought as he sat back down in his chair, tapping his fingers on the desk. As if on timing, the door swung open violently, causing one of the hinges to break. That is quite some force. Ciel jumped and almost had a heart attack when he saw Sebastian walk into the room with his arms spread out. His image was actually quite terrifying. His eyes were redder than usual, with dark bangs below them, his hair ruffled in a mess, and he had loosened his tailcoat. He is the opposite of a proper butler. "I'm here," he said loudly, not reacting to his master's expression, which was a combination of scared and shocked. That is exactly how I feel right now reading this. Sebastian fell freely on the floor. Ciel immediately rose up. "How much did you drink?" he shouted. Sebastian tried to retain himself, but ended up losing his balance and stumbling over to Ciel's desk. My, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yes, my lord. You know what I think about you, he slurred heavily. I don't think I want to know what he's thinking about. Ciel folded his arms and kept his irritated stare, not amused at all. Exactly, I'm not amused. If Sebastian started acting like this one day, I don't know what I would do, to be honest. I think you're a brat. Sebastian gave a hoarse laugh and smacked his palm uncontrollably on the desk. "Sebastian, the desk is going to break if you do that." Yes, you're a brat. But I can't complain, because I love you." What? Alcohol makes people honest, doesn't it? Perhaps it affects demons the opposite way. "What the hell has gotten into you?" Ciel muttered while backing away from his butler until his back was against the window. "That is a bad move. Why would you willingly corner yourself when there is a monster in the room?" Ciel slipped off his gloves and attempted to touch the Earl's face when his hand was starkly flicked away. "You have a pretty face. So soft." "Oh." "Back off," Ciel snapped. Unfortunately, what he didn't expect was the delay of the effects demons get when consumed with alcohol. Unlike humans, the effects hit a little later because of the demonic powers within a demon that acts like a shield. And arbitrating by the amount of tequila Sebastian drank, which was, holy crap, 50 gallons, he won't be one hell of a butler for a while, until 5 hours, or maybe even 2 days, before he turns back to normal. Ciel braced himself seeing the sight of Sebastian, his butler, the one he trusted and shown loyalty to, who'd become something close to as horrifying as his true form. Yes, this is quite scary. I am trembling slightly reading this because if this happened in real life, as I said before, I have no idea what I would do. "Sebastian," Ciel sighed, "you seem to have taken my orders quite seriously." Sebastian laughed again and hunched over the desk as his hair fell between his eyes. Ciel wasn't sure whether demons could actually throw up, but with Sebastian it sure did look like he was about to. Dear God, please don't throw up in my study. Go to your own bedroom in the basement and do it there. Don't do it here. What does demonic vomit even smell like? Would it smell putrid, like something died or something? I assume it would. No, master. I just feel a bit dizzy, he mumbled. Ciel heard his stomach grumbling furiously, demanding for its perfectly cooked supper. I need my food when I need my food. If I don't get my food, I get very upset. Give me my food, Sebastian. Oh well, in the meantime, make me dinner. I'm starving, Ciel ordered as he sat back down in his chair. Sebastian unsteadily got down on his knee and bowed. Yes, my lord, he said before exiting the room like a blind man. I anticipate that the kitchen is going to end up completely destroyed by the end of this chapter. There was a clatter in the kitchen, and another china plate shattered on the tile floor. Sebastian leaned over the sink, and while it felt like a million drums pounded in his head, he still managed to cook Ciel's dinner to perfection. I appreciate that. I need my perfect food just the way I like it, 1 degree off, and I refuse to eat it, so good on him. He looked at the deliciously roasted chicken and steamed vegetables with a smile, feeling entertained to the thought that drunken demons can make a full-course meal better than Bard and his flamethrower. But then he came across the broken tableware and suddenly felt clumsier than Mayrin with her glasses. He was about to clean it up when he stopped and laughed to himself. What matters, he said lazily. I'm drunk. Sebastian lifted the tray with the roast chicken and did his best not to fall on his way out of the kitchen. The way he walked looked like an amateur on a tightrope, and several vegetables fell from the rim of the tray. He's making a mess of the manor, isn't he? It's just how I feared it would be. He made it to the door, but the chicken slid slowly but awfully close to the edge of the sloped platter. Sebastian noticed it and quickly caught the chicken before it tumbled to the carpet. Dear me, I am badass, he thought, placing the chicken back onto the tray. That was the cringiest thing that I have ever read. A trail of dropped vegetables followed Sebastian, and gobbling each of them was Pluto, licking his lips and scratching his head with his foot. Normally Sebastian would hit the mutt, which I quite dislike because I am fond of dogs, but that disgusting demon is not. He likes those wretched cats that I'm allergic to. I don't understand why. Anyway. But since he was drunk as hell, he only shrugged and walked down the hallway. The demon butler arrived at the dining table, where Ciel waited patiently for his meal, although the look in his eyes told him that there is hardly a drop of patience left in him after competing with his hungry appetite. Precisely, I get quite upset when I am hungry, as I mentioned before. It took you long enough, he grumbled. Sebastian placed the roast chicken in front of Ciel, and he glanced at it with a frown. What is this? I thought we were having lamb tonight. Lamb, right, Sebastian muttered as he scratched his chin. Do demons get itchy? I don't think I've ever seen Sebastian actually scratch himself. I'm curious now, do demons get itchy? Does Sebastian ever experience what an itch is? Getting back on track, I'm getting quite sidetracked today. Ciel glared at his butler and folded his arms. He figured it was not the time for arguing, since he was faced with a drunken demon, and he knew it was downright pointless and time-consuming. He sighed and tasted the chicken, while Sebastian prepared the tea. He wobbled over to the table, holding the teapot in his hands, seeing 2 teacups instead of 1 crisscrossing in his view. He better not drop scalding hot tea on me. He managed to elegantly pour the tea into the cup. However, he filled it to the point where it almost seeped from the rim, fortunately not overflowing thanks to Ciel's hand stopping him. You've done enough for tonight, he sighed. Go and rest. I shall put myself to bed. My lord, I insist. Sebastian fumbled with his words whilst hiccuping, making his impression as a butler even worse, and quite hilarious. Ciel ran his fingers through his hair in frustration. That's an order, he added with a firm tone. Sebastian blinked for a moment. His master was willing to learn how to undress himself, brush his teeth, and even bathe himself all without help. Now isn't this charming? I did not consider that there are lots of tasks ahead of me if I was to go to bed alone. Perhaps I do need Sebastian's help after all, even if he is completely drunk. Sebastian bowed. Certainly. Ciel waved his hand, signaling Sebastian to get out of his sight. Once he was alone, he began to regret ordering that demon to drink tequila just to prove a point. But he refused to think anymore. He was tired, too tired to notice Pluto pressing his face against the window outside the living room, begging to sleep inside for one night. Ciel stood up and left the table with a yawn, ready to snuggle in his king-sized bed. Ah yes, comfort at last. He decided to skip taking a bath and brushing his teeth, but of course he really had no choice. Of course I have no idea how to do those things. Opening the door to his room, he hoped that by morning things would return to normal. Judging by how this story has been progressing, I imagine that things will not be normal in the morning and I will suffer terribly because I can't brush my teeth, I can't change my clothes, I am not what people would call a fully functioning human, now that I think about it. But I think that is okay, because Sebastian will return to being Sebastian at some point. Yes. Of course. I had quite a fun time reading this story. It really amazes me how people can think of such interesting topics off the top of their head, and they can write such wonderful stories to go along with that. It is quite remarkable, and I really admire any person who really puts so much time into writing such a wonderful story based off of their favorite characters. It really amazes me, and I have a deep respect for the people who write these stories. Anyway, if you enjoyed listening to me read this story, then please leave a like down below and subscribe if you want to see more Ciel-related content. If you have a suggestion or just want to say anything really, please leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.